Hey, here we are in Parsha. I have to think for a minute because we're in Parsha Chukot. Right? Yeah, we're in Parsha Chukot. A couple things. One, this is an interesting week in Eretz Yisrael because we had Rosh Chodesh Tammuz, right? So it's always the Chukot is in the month of Tammuz, whether it's the Rosh Chodesh or it's like the week after. It's going to be in Tammuz. I shouldn't say always, but I think I'm correct on that. It's in the month of Tammuz, and Rosh Chodesh Tammuz is Yosef Atzadik's Yortzeit. I actually went on the Erev of his Yortzeit to Kever Rachel with some of my students. I'm like, we might as well go to his Ima. I'm not going to go to Shechem. I know that you could, but I had one child who's gone to Shechem, but I'm not going to Shechem. But I'm like, anyways, I'm going to go direct to the mommy who bore Yosef Atzadik. And we also have, today is the Yortzeit of the Rebbe, the Babich Rebbe is today. And I'm going to mention maybe something small in his zechut. And also we have, at the end of the month is Rav Eliashiv, Yortzeit. So there's a lot of Chukot. And why am I mentioning this? Because actually Parsha Chukot it talks about Miriam, that she passes away. In this Parsha, we brought up Miriam. Now Miriam, it brings down that actually the day she niftera was on Yud Nisan. So it's not right now in Tammuz. And soon we're going to have actually the Yortzeit of Elana Cohen, which is Rosh Chodesh Av, which also we have these two things that happen in this Parsha. The two great tzaddikim, they pass away. And the things that they kind of take with them is we have Miriam and her Be'er Miriam, which is the well of Miriam. And we have the Anei Kavod of Elana Cohen, right? Moshe is still going strong with the man. And I was thinking about something, like I'm thinking about what are these three things, these kochot that these three leaders bring us. So here I am, always mind, body, neshama, right? And I think to myself, man is the physical. Moshe is like always in charge and kind of like the shepherd takes care of the physical. Like, let's go. I'm taking care of you. No one's going to destroy you. You're like, I'm bringing you out. And of course he's giving his Torah, but he's like the physical, right? And then you have Aaron, which is actually Shalom is like the emotion, like the mental, and the idea of the neshama of when I brings the Admor Meruzhin, I heard in the name of the Admor Meruzhin from Rav Boyer, that your thoughts go up, how you're thinking about a person, and what happens, they form a cloud, anei kavod, and then it rains down on the other person. So that brings shalom, or it could bring machloket, the way you're depending, but the way Aaron was constantly thinking about people, like, no, they really wanted to send you flowers. And no, she really wants to like call you and say she's sorry. I'm thinking these thoughts, it's going to rain down on another person. It's the thoughts, the machshava, it's that mental. And so what's Miriam? What's water? Water is emotions, right? It's our emotions. It's also ta'avot, our desires. It's our ratzon. The koch ratzon is what really, gets a person to do anything. And it's an emotion. And I was thinking, what's a koch also of a woman? She's one woman and there's two men. So it's funny because like if you think about it, all of us are all these things. We're all masculine, we're all feminine. Inside of us, there's different things. We're all part of us. We have Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what the Moshe Rabbeinu. We learn from Aaron Cohen, and for sure we're Miriam, and we're this womanly force. But I do want to tap into Miriam and this idea of emotion and desires and ratzon. And I want to see what happened when Miriam passed away, and who was Miriam. And not to mention the fact that it's mentioned, we start off with the Parsha tells Aaron, Hashem tells Moshe to Aaron, Zot Chukot Torah, right? And everyone brings in, whoa, Zot Chukot Torah? Wait, you're talking about Paraduma. Why don't you say Zot Chukot Paraduma, right? Why Torah? Why is this so fundamental? Like you're naming this whole thing as this thing with Paraduma has to do with all the Torah Kulo. What exactly is a chok? I'm bringing in a lot of things here. And again, going back to Miriam, going back to Mayim. Now I was looking, and it's interesting and another thing that happens in this parsha is we have the very famous where Moshe hits the rock, and because of that, it's brought down that he's punished and he's not going into Eretz Yisrael, right? So in a way, the era of Moshe also passed away. In this week's parsha, we have the era of Moshe, Miriam, and Aaron passing away and leaving us, and it's going to be a different era. But we have to take some of these things that we learned from them. As I mentioned, from Aaron, we learned about these thoughts that go up. We learn from the man as our panasa, our gashmias is all mina shemaim, and it's from the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and every single day going out there and realizing that it's all from you, Hashem, right? Having bitachon in the gashmi, right, in the physicality. And Miriam, what are we learning from the water? What are we learning from the emotions? And what exactly is emotion and water? And where does it come from? So I want to propose that it actually, water, emotion, Regesh in Hebrew is the same letters as gesher. What's a gesher? It's a bridge. Miriam gave us something so incredible. She gave us a bridge. And what's this bridge? The bridge is called Emunah. The bridge is called also hope and tikva. Miriam is the one who told her father, wait a minute, you're being drastic here. There's no you're not having connection with Ima. There's not going to be any connection because you're so afraid of what's going to happen that maybe, what could happen. She's like, I'm bringing you back a kesher. I'm bringing you back connection. All of a sudden they have another chatuna and Moshe's born. What exactly are emotions for and should be used for is connection. And as I mentioned, Yosef Atzadik's Yurtzeit, I'm thinking about Yosef Atzadik, and all these things are starting to come in my mind because I'm thinking Be'er Miriam, a well. A well has water. What is a well without a water? It's a bore, it's a hole. So who's the first person we know that was thrown into a hole was Yosef Atzadik. But there were two holes he was thrown into. One is the original hole where we know he's thrown in by his brothers, and Ein Mayim Shama. There's no water there. There's no connection. It's crazy. He's in there all alone. There's no connection, right? His brothers cast him in there. There's no connection. There might be scorpions. There's for sure no water. What is water? What is this idea of the regesh? It was a regesh that was used in the wrong way. It's like, I hate you. I'm throwing you in there. However, Yosef Atzadik, and he's Yosef Atzadik because he does have a connection with something which is always with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And later on, fast forward, he's in another type of hole, which is a dungeon or a jail, which for sure was a hole. And there, he's walking around, and his comments are like looking at everybody else. He's in jail, he's in prison, and he's like telling other people, well, why are you such a sour face? Mm-hmm. Right? Everywhere he goes, Yosef is connected to Kadosh Baruch Hu, but also there's a regesh there. There's an emotion. He connects people. He's connecting. He even connects to his brothers after all that they did for him. He's using the regesh in a way of connecting, right? So I'm thinking about Miriam. Again, Miriam, the woman who says to her father, you can't disconnect. You can't disconnect. Miriam has a koach to take something mal, bitter, and larim oto. She rises it up in order to what? To sing at the yam, Miriam. Besof, at the end of the thing, she's going to see that there's going to be a yam here. There's going to be a splitting the sea. I'm taking my tambourines, and I'm connecting. Also, music is so emotionally. It's such a way of connecting. And she passes away. Now, I was looking at this whole scene, and I'm thinking, and I'm remembering in my mind, wait a minute, there were other times when we complained about water. This is not the first time. And if we actually go back to the original time when we're complaining about water, it's so fascinating because it's in Shemot, it's in Parsha Beshlach. We just crossed, Kiryat Yam Suf. We just crossed the sea. We just see all our enemies drowning. We had this incredible emotional and spiritual singing and song and waking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And very soon after, what does it say? It says we start to wander. Vayavo mechat v'lo yichlu lishtot mayim. All of a sudden, they come to this place. I'm sorry. I should go a little bit back in Shemot Tet Vav Chav Bet. Vayisa Moshe et Yisrael miyam suf v'yitzu el midbar shur v'yichlu shlishat yamim b'midbar v'lo matzu mayim. So they just yam suf, and all of a sudden they don't find water. 3 days they're traveling, don't find water. They come to where? This place, Marata, v'lo yichlu lishtot mayim. They couldn't drink this water. Why? Because it was mayim marim. It was bitter. And so therefore they called even the place Mara. It's called bitter. And they start to complain to Moshe Rabbeinu, and they're crying out, and then they're crying out to Hashem. And what does Moshe do? He takes an etz, a tree. Now it's brought down the Mefarshim that what kind of tree was this? It was actually, it could have been, maybe it was a zait, maybe it was olive leaves, maybe it was alavot. It was, the alavot willow leaves. It's brought down, there's different, every interpretation that's brought down what kind of tree it was bitter. Moshe takes something bitter and he throws it into the water, and they become sweet. All of a sudden, these water become sweet, and then it says, "V'sham lo chok u'mishpat, v'sham neseu." So that in that place actually brings down is where we get paraduma. We're learning about it now, which is going to be called the chok of the Torah. But really, where we got the mitzvah of paraduma was right after we see Moshe Rabbeinu take something bitter in a place that's called bitter. And he throws it in there, and all of a sudden, it's sweet. Fast forward, just like a couple sentences later, in Yud Zayin, we have another, where, again, there's no water. In Yud Zayin, they come to a place, right? They come, they were thirsty, and they were traveling, they were thirsty, and they start to complain, why did you take us out of Mizraim? We're going to die, like we're thirsty. And Hashem screams out to Hashem. And he says, what are you doing to me? They are going to kill me. They're going to stone me. What does Hashem tell Moshe? I want you to go, and I want you to take all the Zikinei Israel. I want you to take your mateh, and I want you to hit the rock. This is interesting. Later on, we're being told, wait a minute, Moshe, you don't have enough Emunah. You're not showing Emunah, Hashem. You're not talking to the rock. You're hitting the rock. He just was told, though, 38 years before, right? Or is it 39 years before? Right now I'm blanking. He was told a lot of time before. Take a staff, and this is how you're going to get water. First time you get water, you throw something bitter, and it's actually becomes sweet. And there, all of a sudden, you get something that's called a chok, umishpat. We also got Shabbos, right? We got Shabbos, we got Dinim, and we got the Paraduma. Second time, I'm telling you, Moshe, to actually take a staff, and I want you to hit the rock. Third time in this Parsha, mind you, why is there not water? There's not water because of the Be'er, the well of Miriam, right? The difference between a well with water and one without is a bore, which is a hole, as I mentioned before. There's a one letter difference, really, it's the Aleph. It's an Aleph. So what's going on here? Now, all of a sudden, Moshe Rabbeinu, he's like being punished. Like, why? Because you didn't do what I said, but you told me to take a staff. If you told me before, many years before, take a staff and hit a rock, why now is that such a bad thing? What? Rocks come out of water when you hit them also? Like, what's going on here? So in my very small mind, I'm trying to understand my life, right? And I'm trying to understand things that happen in my life. And I'm reading also, I really wanted to look at something for Likutei Sichot, because I mentioned it. Today is the Yortzeit of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And he brings in, there's three different types of mitzvot, right? We have mishpatim, edut, and chukim. What are the differences between the two of these three? Mishpatim is edut, kefi sheratzon elyon, letzamsem. Okay, they have the ones that are mishpatim, like don't kill, don't steal. They have a livush, which is a begin. They have a begin that's called seichel. It makes logical sense. It's something that's surrounded and worn with logical sense. Like don't kill, yeah, because if I kill, you kill, it's chaos. Don't steal. These make sense. Then you have edut. Edut is keeping Shabbos, right? Edut is chagim, which before you give me the Torah, it doesn't really make sense. But the moment you give me the Torah also, I can say, oh, that's logical. Yeah, a day of rest sounds good to me. Celebrating that we went out of Egypt, that sounds good to me. Like, meaning I could actually address that also. Once I sit for a minute, got the Torah, understand the whole, then I will be able to make sense of this. A chukim, he says, there's no livush. There's no garment. There's no seichel. What's a chok? Chok is something that's brought down, he says, it's part of you. It's engraved in you. It's not ketiva that you write with ink on a piece of paper that could get smudged. You could get the white out. You could say, you know what? This doesn't really sound good to me today. Like, I hear you tell me kivud ev'em, and it's a great idea because I should honor my parents because I should come to learn how to appreciate life. But what if your parent abandoned you when you were 3 days old and they never did anything for you? All of a sudden, you erase it with the ink. Comes a chok and it says, shatnez, don't wear linen. And there's no way I could, even if I try to come up with beautiful things, sometimes when I'm teaching, I'm going to be like, oh, I have this great idea why shatnez, a great idea why kashrut. I know, I've learned, I've heard very different. And the Rambam says, go and look for tamim so that it tastes better to you. Go ahead, do it. But at the end of the day, a chok is something there's no livush, there's no seichel. It's engraved in you. It's part of you. It's Torah is you. It's saying Hashem, it's in your neshama. The relationship that Hashem wants you to be is with something that is beyond seichel, actually. And how do I know this? Because when you look in your life, the times that you actually really, truly, I think, feel close to Hashem is not when it always makes sense, but when it doesn't. I'm going to give you a small example. On Monday, I had to teach a class at 9 to 9:45. And I take a course that's almost ending, 2 years in a course. I've never missed a class. Baruch Hashem, B'ezrat Hashem, I only have 4 more to go. And it's very, I always try, I shut up. Even though, you can hear a recording, it's something about you have a hashpa'ah, you have an influence when you're there with the teacher. So the class starts at 10 o'clock, it's downtown. Good luck to Elana Mizrhai getting from Harnov to downtown, right? But I made a commitment that I'm teaching until 9:45.
So it's like a one-time thing.
Yeah, it's a Yom Iyun thing, and it's like once a month I go in, and it happened to be on Monday, that day. So I said, but I can do this. I've done this before also, where I've like made it, somehow. What's the plan? My husband picks me up, exactly waiting for me 9:45. You know what I mean? Like, we have a plan of action. Okay. Now, mind you, I sit in the same seat every single week, which is front and center. I'm center, I'm front, and I'm in the first row. And I need it. I need it because of the language. I need it because I don't wear my glasses. I need it because I fall asleep. I need it for so many reasons that the way I learn is front and center. I've always been a front and center person, since I am. I focusing, I get maybe distracted. I'm a front and center. Now, I decided that if I'm going to be working on myself and going to so many classes of Torah, then I'm going to really try to work on my Emunah, but tachlis, practically, okay? So I said, you know what? I'm not going to call ahead of time my friend, like a friend in my class, and say, save my seat. Because why? I always get there like 20 minutes early. I get my seat. If I'm not going to be there on time or early, why should I deserve to have my seat? Like, let someone else sit front and center. They got there before me. A lot of people save all the seats. Like, a lot of people don't do that way. But I feel like, I know, like, let's say you're going to, somewhere and you want your mother to sit next to you. Okay. But this is like, no, everyone goes and they try to get there and they want a seat. So I said to myself, number one, I am not going to save anybody's seat. And number two, I do my shtalos, tell my husband, 9:45, wait for him. Right. For some reason, I couldn't find where he was, like, I couldn't find him. That's like 3 minutes. Like, he couldn't find a parking spot. So, okay, now we're in 9:48. And then, I don't know how, but he didn't realize where he's taking me. So I'm saying, all of a sudden he thought he was taking me somewhere else, whatever, doesn't matter. So then it's already 9:58. We still haven't left our knob. No. We're in the Knesset, but and then I'm like, okay, all right, it's fine. I'll hear a recording of the first 10 minutes anyway. You know what I'm saying? This is not like Sof Sha'olam. It's just my little pet peeve. I want to be there in time. I also don't like walking into a class when the rabbi is already teaching, whatever. Anyways, we get there at 10:08. There was no trap, which was, that in itself is a nest that Hashem kitzadech, right? And all of a sudden I walk in and the Rav is late. He's not there. And no one's in my seat. Everyone, all the seats are taken except for my seat, which obviously they were being nice. I'm sure, whatever. That was really nicer than chesed. I sit down and I thought to myself, can I take something? Now, this is not Mar, but the idea is Hashem is telling us, what's Miriam? Miriam is saying, why are you separating? You need connection. Don't go start making your calculations just because Paro says to kill the boys. That means we're ruined. Why are you calculating? The first time Moshe's like, this is bitter. Who says Hashem can't make it sweet? He can even take an olive leaf, which is very bitter, or an alavot, and put it into bitter water. But it's Ratzon Hashem. Who says he can't make it sweet? All of a sudden it becomes sweet. Do you know how many times in my life where you hear a door and you're like, there's no way it's going to happen? Miriam, Larim, our job is to take our emotions, to take our words, which she said to her father, knew what's going on here, and to take action, because also Dibur and Ruach is all connected. Dibur and Regesh, the emotions, it's all there in the heart, right? And it actually comes from Koch. Dibur comes from Ruach. Speaking comes from Ruach, and also your emotions come from the Ruach. Just trust me on this. This is what that makes sense. Meaning your neshama is seichel. That's what I'm trying to. Okay, neshama is seichel, the intellect, right? Your kaved, nefesh, is your body, soul, right? And the ruach part is what is related to as your emotions, which makes sense. Ruach. I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that way. But also you're talking. You need to, in order to talk, you need ruach. You need, try singing. You can't have air. Your machshavot also are in there too. It's a bit, whatever. It's more complicated than, I'm not simplifying something that I actually don't know so well. But my point is that our emotions are so tapped into the way we talk to people and what our capabilities are. And I really think that Hashem is asking us, do you want to be in a hole in your life, or do you want to be in a well? Because a well is something that sometimes you're down there and you need help, and you'll get that bucket thrown down to you, and then you climb up. It's not that it's not a deep, dark place sometimes, but the well is filled with water. What is water? Miriam, is to take the mal and realize, not me, but Hashem can make this sweet somehow. Which is Yosef Atzadik, how is it possible that you took your situation of being thrown into a hole, and then later telling your brothers, because this is what got me to save you. is all my experiences in life, which could be, and you're saying, Elana, what does that got to do with you getting on time, like you getting there before the Rav in the class? It was impossible, a teva, for me to get there before the Rav did when I was already late. We were doing little sivuvim, running around Harnof in like the car, and that I should have my chair taken. But I don't have to call the whole world and say, reserve my spot for me. Hashem knows exactly where I'm supposed to be sitting. And if he wants me to sit in the front seat, even when I'm 10 minutes late, I will be there. And I was before the Rav, which was like,
has he ever been late?
He's rarely, no, I'm sure he has been late because of traffic, but it's not like it's not typical. And also it's not typical that seat would not be taken. I don't know. I get there every time like 15, 20 minutes early. I just wanted to, that's how it's like you get there early or you get, if you want, look, you'd always sit in the back. There are other times where you're rushing and like, it's okay, sit in the back. And like some people actually want to sit in the back. They're more comfortable in the back. The way I think I need that, Hashem saw I needed it, right? I needed to be there. So let's go back to the idea of chok. It's something engraved in me. It's something part of me. It's my neshama. It's understanding. And also, of course, we have to bring in some of Rabbi Nachman of Nikudot Tovot here, because this is also the paraduma, which was given to us in the place where the ma became a tok, where the bitter became sweet. That's where we actually got this chok. It's now brought into, and it's tied in. We see Miriam, Aaron, Moshe, these leaders of Ar that are actually, it's not the generation. And what really happened with Moshe when he hit that rock? It wasn't the time to be angry. And this is so powerful because he did hit it in another instance. Do you realize the wisdom is knowing when to use emotions and how and why? If you're using your emotional outbursts of being angry because it's you, not that I'm saying anything about Moshe, I'm talking about me, then you're not doing Ratzon Hashem. And what you're not, there's no Emunah there. If I'm literally getting angry and that's why I'm yelling, there's no Emunah there. If I'm getting angry because I see someone doing something dangerous, not angry. If I yell and I say, don't run into the street, it's a loud voice because it's like dangerous and I only use that in places of danger, then I'm doing Ratzon Hashem. Here Hashem is telling you to hit the rock, and here he's not saying, he said, speak to the rock. We need to know when to use what, and how do we do this Api Hashem? Which means, am I doing this for my ratzon, my desires, my emotions, or is this emotion coming from, emotion is beautiful. But imagine walking into a shiva room and you're emotionally happy because you just heard great news. You're going to walk in there with that smile on your face because you're so excited, but it's my emotion. Aren't you allowed to feel my emotions? Can I express them? No, there's a time and a place when to express them and when not. Know where you are. You go to a chatuna, you go to a wedding, don't have a sour face because you just heard bad news. Fake it and you'll make it. You get there to the chatuna, it's someone else's simcha, you put in a smile on your face and you say, Mazal Tov, you're gorgeous. We need to know when to use what. We need to draw the water from our souls, which Hashem gives us. Mayim is chaim. To be connected to Kadosh Baruch Hu with Emunah and say, Hashem, you can make the marma talk, and I need to know when to hit something and I need to know when to speak to it. It's not coming from my emotional me, it's coming from you. And the nation needed, I think, when they went into Eretz Yisrael, they needed that was like, that's what I feel like this is our generation also. We're so soft, we need to know when we're supposed to be screamed at and when we're supposed to be just cuddled, right? And spoken to. It's a chokhmah. It's very difficult. It's a constant battle. But this is okay. This is the Rabbi Nachman piece of Likutei probably the Likutei Halachot, that the idea, one second. Yes, Likutei Halachot, right? Which is what? Paraduma Tamima. Okay, it's brought down that there are at least 3 conditions. I know that the paraduma, this red heifer, calf, has to be. Tamima, that's the idea of, it's like timimut is completion, it's wholeness. I guess it's all red, It can have a mum on it can have a defect, and also it can have had an all, any kind of yoke, it could have carried on it. So let's break these things down a little bit. Tamima, what does this mean? Tamima is, we really have to understand, this is the chok of the Torah. Before, I'm not going to keep Shabbos, even though it's an edut, if I only think the reason why I'm keeping Shabbos is to rest. Because what if I just had 20 guests, or my kids were up all night long, I'm exhausted, and I could have rested more if I was on a Tuesday going to the beach by myself, right? It's not that. We said also, it can't be mishpatim, that the reason why I'm not stealing is because someone else is not going to steal from me, and like otherwise society would collapse. There has to be a Kadosh Baruch Hu in the picture, right? Yesterday, I went with my son. It was his birthday. We went to the Kotel, and we see a Rav Kav. And I'm like I got confused. It didn't have a name. It was anonymous. I'm like, all of a sudden my mind is actually thinking about is there a mitzvah here? There's no Shva B'Midah. I can't pick it up. Are we allowed to take it? It's like money, isn't it? My son's like, he's 11. He's telling me, Mommy, it's like it's hefker. It's money. We could use it. But I'm like, but when we were just walked to the Kotel an hour ago, like I'm saying, I'm like, it wasn't there. So maybe the person will come back. They just maybe dropped it from there. I'm like, I don't want to touch it and pick it up. My point is, my life isn't just one of like, it's connection. The halachot, the mitzvot, edut, chukim is to engrave in my neshama that I have a Kadosh Baruch Hu with me all the time. I have to be thinking about this Rav Kav. What should I do with it? Not about not what my emotional or my taiva is asking me to do. What does Hashem want me to do? It was such an interesting conversation. Afterwards, I realized maybe I made a mistake. Maybe we should took it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is life gets to one of curiosity when you bring Hashem into the picture of what He wants more than what you want. Do you realize that? Just asking someone what's on your mind. Let's be curious. Like, what's going on in your life? What are we assuming? I don't know. I'm like, you think what's on my mind? Like, what is on my mind and why? Is that what Hashem wants me to be thinking about? How does He want me to be talking? Is that really going to lift up the person in front of me when I say that word to them? I'm telling you, never when a person's tired or hungry or upset is the time to hear Musar, right? I've learned this so many times the wrong and not right way. I think like key number one, Shalom Bayit, is like Pirkei Avot says, know what to do when. You don't get, you in front of the dead, you don't do this. You get angry, like meaning know when to do when, right? Know when to hit the rock and know when to just talk to it. Really, we have to know these things. How? B'ezrat Hashem. So Timima is living with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in all my moments. Timima is realizing that the Mar become a talk. I had a phone call. I don't even know who she is. She should be blessed. B'ezrat Hashem, B'zer Kayemet. I get phone calls. I can't remember the name, so really I don't know who this person is. And she was giving me her story. She's asking me for some advice on the telephone. She's been married quite a few years. And okay, so I was giving her like what I thought. And I thought to myself, the most important thing I want to tell her is like, it's going to be fine. No, really, how dare me say such a thing? But I was like, do you realize that also the most modern technology that there is right now is actually Derech HaTeva? Hashem has made so many ways. I was like, work on your Shalom Bayit. We're going to do what you have to do, Hishtalas-wise, but you're going to absolutely know that this can happen. Take the mal, the situation, and make him a talk. And of course, how could I be so audacious to say such a thing? Well, I'd rather lift her up, than like, I'd rather lift her up because I believe it. I know it. It can happen. I know it. I constantly am working on this. I have a very good friend. We have a chavruta in this. I think we work on, let's just think positively about our family members and lift them up in our minds. Even when we're disciplining, you have to hit sometimes because you have to. There are times when Hashem says, hit the rock. But in my thoughts, my emotions, and my words, my job is to be a Miriam, to take the mar and le'arim ota. I'm the woman, I'm the koach. Or you could be a man listening to this. I don't know. Men are allowed to listen to this. But you also do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, lift up. There's no way you're going to likrev someone, get them closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu by putting them down. That's for sure. So timima, be timimut in it also is knowing that Hashem, this is a nisayon for you. I'm going to be makabel of it. Shachana. It's the hardest thing is to just be complete in relinquishing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? What an avoda. But look at it. It gets to be paraduma, right? Number one, timima. Then we have no mum. So this is the Rabbi Nachman of no mum. What is this? Also, this concept he always brings in nikudot tovot. You got to look for the nikudot tovot, right? From of the Hashkamat Boker. Always there has to be like you look at yourself. You want to get close to Hashem. You want to have Emunah. You want the sweet to be coming from even the place of bitterness, where that bitterness is going to take the sweet. Stop looking at yourself negatively. You're bli mumim. Don't look at that person also, because how do you lift someone up or how do you lift yourself up if you're constantly looking at your defects? And I thought about this. I'm like, but then you're not being honest. Come on, we all know what we have to work on. And if we don't, we're not working on it anyways. So the person who knows that they really want to get close to Hashem and work on something, you don't need to point out your defects, right? You're tamim, you're bli mum. Wake up in the morning, not with that. Wake up in the morning and think, okay, what is inside of me that's good, and what's around me that's good. Even in this midst of chaos, this mar has to also be good, because with mar I can make matok. I was thinking, you know what? Akadosh Baruch Hu, I think, created two things, garlic and onion, which are, in my personal opinion, the most delicious things to use in all my cuisine. Except I'm saying, but what's crazy about this bitter and like charif, chili, everyone knows what chili is, right? Is there a word for that in any other language? Pepper, hot pepper. You cook it, it will still be hot. You take an onion, which is tears, and you take garlic, which is charif, and you cook it, it actually gets sweet. I literally, you roast garlic and it's sweet. Hashem created within Teva something that I can take bitter and I cook it. I'm patient. Give it chimum, give it love and warmth. That bitter situation in my life, or that bitter person in my life, even the bitterness in my life, I'm telling you, if you just give it warmth with your emotion in your heart, it becomes sweet. What a pele Hashem made for us, garlic and onion. It's delicious. I use it every single day. Almost. So that's the blimum. And this idea of the all, which I heard from Rav Shai Itri, which I loved actually, because it's so true. This is like really stop making your life one where it's just too heavy for you, that you can't deal with it. So what's the raya of this? Like, what's the idea behind this? I just found out that the paraduma, if, let's say I'm out and about and I have this beautiful red cow, if I put a blanket on it, because I don't want to carry the blanket, that's considered this old. Forget, it's not just plowing. It's anything that's on it that I do to it. Mm-hmm. But if it's raining and I don't want my little red cow to get wet, or like there's a bug on it, I could put a blanket on it and it would not be considered an ol. Why? Because is it for me or is it for Hashem? Meaning, is it for me or it's for the other person? And when I'm looking at my life as one, like, I'm so tired, I'm doing so much, and everything is such a yoke on me, and Hashem, these mitzvahs are too hard for me. And like, I also put that on other people by like, no, it's too hard, you can't deal with this. Someone reached out to me in work and they were like, I have this going on and this going on, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. You know what my response was? No, I know you can do it. You have enough time to organize yourself. And you know what? The person responded back to me, because we have emojis now everywhere, was with a heart, which is like, thank you for giving me the koach to know that I can do this, because I'm telling you, you have this, you have the time to do it. You have this, you can do it. Like, everyone all the time is like, no, I can't. I myself tell myself I can't do something. I don't want other people also tell me I can't do it and make it into such a amor and a yoke, and it's so heavy on me. The mitzvot, how can you do it? So repressive, so constricting. How do people do that? Well, no, I will only feel that if you're putting it on me. But if I realize that a mitzvot or something that I'm doing, taking care of my family, working, is in order to protect me, or like to make me into a bigger, better person, which I mean also by protecting, then I'm going to carry it. And then what do we get? We get this whole completion of a chok, which is all Torah, which is engraved on it. It's a part of it. It's not levush I have to have seichel about, which is that Hashem can make something that the person, from you have tahara mituma. From mitameh becomes something that's from the thing that blocks me in my life. Remember, tuma is blockage. It's like the blockage is stopping me. The things that I think are my biggest obstacles. Do I realize with timimut and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with not seeing the defects, but trying to see my positivity in those around me, getting closer to Hashem with that, with also realizing this is not, I didn't come into this world to have to deal with this challenge. I came into this world to grow with this challenge. It's protecting me. It's making me into a bigger, it's like making my muscles stronger. What happens? Then Hashem will make even that you could get to a class and still be there before the teacher. That the mar becomes matok. That all of a sudden I had it was such a simcha. Last night I went to an engagement and I had a call from a former neighbor. Like, I'm still in touch with, I've lived in so many places, and I can't believe you could be, and I'm still in touch with even like a child, like a daughter of my old neighbor, and I got 2 notices this week of one was engagement and one's a marriage. And both of them everything is relevant to your world you're living in, but in their eyes, both of them were older singles. Okay, whether doesn't matter if there's no objective reality in that. In their eyes, these were 2 women who had been dating for a while. And I got these 2 notices. I even schlepped to one of them last night and I'll go to the other one, Blinetter, to the wedding, because it's like, why is this so? Because you see, you go to that simcha and there's such joy there and there's such sweetness. Right? There's like such a meaning behind what went on. and how they got to that beautiful shidduch, which is incredible, which they're on a high about. And I'm telling you, I know that Hashem will say to us, and He does to us all the time. He says, I want you to take what you think is mal. I want you to leimoto, elevate it, but I want you to see it will become a talk. Just like, hang on to me. It's all about connection. Miriam is teaching us how to connect. We connect by lifting things up. We connect by seeing the good positive. We connect by understanding that Hashem is with us in all the situations that we're walking in. And I'm telling you that everything can happen. Because all there is Hashem. Right? So B'ezrat Hashem, on the Zechut of Yosef HaTzadik, who took the bowl, that he was thrown into a pit, he made it into be'er, also of a wealth of like bringing water and nurturing his whole entire family, and mashkeotam, and also be'er is to have clarity, right? The Zechut Yosef HaTzadik, on the Zechut of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who went, I don't think there was a person that's not known less in the whole entire world for seeing good in people and looking at the Nukudot Tovot. Also Rabbi Nachman's teachings. We have Rav Boyer, who's always in my life right now, and also the Zechut of Rashi, because what would I do without Rashi? But B'ezrat Hashem, we should just always take these moments where we're feeling work in a hole, and please add water to it, add Hashem to it, add Emunah to it. And I'm telling you, I'm blessing us all. The mal will become matok. B'ezrat Hashem.